Oh, there it goes. So, time to change the status quo, right? Although this episode didn't do it as much as I was expecting, but this is clearly your typical arc ender, arc beginner kind of a situation. We'll get to that in a minute. So, Connor. Poor Connor. It is actually interesting. They show up and they're like, hey, so all this information about Roy, you should look out for him. Hintity, hintity. And of course, by acting so casual and being so honest, they're able to approach them with the tech. I really like Tornado's explanation for how he was able to fix that, because I forget the exact number, but it was like 16 nanoseconds. It takes 16 nanoseconds, or 0.16 nanoseconds, to take direct control over the body. So he had plenty of time to make a subroutine to shut himself down anytime he tried to infect someone else. I love that. That is exactly what that should be. That's why Red Tornado's high tier right there, right? Anyways. So I complain all the time about how irritating it is when main characters don't notice that someone else that they know well is mind-controlled. This shows up on Star Trek constantly. I like how both Robin and Zatanna both notice basically immediately that they're being mind-controlled and that something's up. Which, of course, leads to them plugging Tornado in, and Tornado being completely on top of everything. Which also neatly lines in with Red, who I'm going to start calling Red, I think, going forward, since calling him Roy would be somewhat inaccurate. Starotech, by the way. Starotech? Totally called that one. Although they haven't actually mentioned the Starro thing yet, but they have mentioned Magitech. This is the first time we've seen honest-to-goodness Magitech here. And that would help to explain why it can affect so many different things, including 4 flavors of alien, which we've got Martians, Kryptonians, whatever Icon is, and of course Thanagarians, so that makes sense. So, like I mentioned way back in like episode 1 or 2, you want to build up to them actually dealing with something big. Well, they're dealing with something big. This is officially the big leagues now. What's funny, though, is it actually still kind of isn't. As Wally points out, perceptive, intelligent. As Wally points out, they're fighting people who are not fighting full tilt. These are not people going at them with everything that they can go at them with. And that's pretty much the only thing that's actually saving them. And that does, of course, make a lot of sense. After all, realistically, they wouldn't be able to beat the League. This, of course, leads to the nice little matchups with Bats versus Robin, and Soups versus Connor, and Megan versus John. Megan outsmarts John, and Connor and Robin, have to team up against Bats and Soups, which makes a degree of sense. Also, nice little touch. They actually shout out several of the scientists which they have met throughout the course of the season. Loving this continuity. It's really adds a wonderful air to the whole thing. I'm not even joking about that. I know that sounds like I'm being sardonic, but I love this kind of continuity. Anyways, so Savage, did I actually call him that? Savage ends up speechifying a bit. And then he exposits quite a bit, their methods, how they're pushing technology and mind control and blah, 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 blah. But then he mentions his overall motive is that he's secretly Apocalypse from the Marvel Universe. What? Survival of the fittest, right? No. He also mentions that humanity needs to evolve quicker in order to, and I quote, take its rightful place at the center of the cosmos. So now we know his motivation. Now, this is all speculation, of course, but given that Darkseid is still out there, and a dangling thread, I'm pretty sure that Savage's overall motive is to try and establish Earth as a point of supremacy against the other forces of power that are in the galaxy. I mean, we know the Lantern Corps is out there, we know Apocalypse is out there, we know the Martians are out there. Earth needs to be, in his view, top tier, hence this overall goal. So, looking at my notes here, I mentioned Wally being perceptive. I mentioned the fight out. They get to the end. We will have phase 2. Okay, fine. We'll just go. We need the League alive still for phase 2, whatever that is. Everyone gets a kiss. Wally finally goes after Artemis. About frickin' time. And of course, Connor and Megan. And Rocket and Caldor, which actually amused me a little bit. I'm with Red Tornado. Human customs elude me. So Soups finally reaches out to Connor. It's only taken him a whole season to do so, minus one episode. But I do like that he finally reaches out to him, and I'm hoping that that's going to pay dividends in season 2 about him finally actually being a legitimate father figure to him. He'd probably be a better father figure than Luther. So, season 1 done. You'll notice that they actually left several threads dangling rather on purpose for season 2. I find this interesting in its own right, because from what I understand, this show has had a troubled production up until season 3 was produced. It's only more recently, like basically this year and last year, in which this show has finally had the financial backing and the creative and political backing in order to actually be a regular show. I mention that because usually a show that isn't sure if they're going to stay on air tries to finish everything. Babylon 5. Rather than trying to leave dangling threads for a future that may never come. I just think it's interesting given the circumstances here. But dangling threads. We've got the original Speedy, which we got to figure out, and we do see he's still alive, although missing an arm. There's Darkseid, obvious, Apocalypse. There's the mysterious Phase 2, Match has been recovered. And then they add a new one. The 6 core members of the JL have been gone for 16 hours. And don't think I haven't noticed the recurring pattern of the number 16. I wonder if that's going to be part of the life/anti-life equation, or if that's even relevant, or if it's just a reference. Like, most shows have some kind of numerical reference they like to put into shows. It's pretty common. Either way, this has been a good season. I'm going to save most of my thoughts until we get to season 2 and finish that, and then I'll do kind of a denouement thing, I think. So for now, I'll catch you whenever. I don't know when this is going live, but either today or tomorrow, we'll get to season 2. I'm going to take a bit of a break. I've been slamming videos all day. This is like my 15th video just today. I need a little bit of a breather. So I'll catch up with season 2 tomorrow.